the hot and barren shore of the Caspian Sea lies the city of Aktau. Aktau is rapidly developing, and despite the shortage of fresh water, new buildings are springing up like mushrooms. There are dreams that the city will become a tourist attraction. And so, palm trees, from childhood pictures and distant tropical forests, have suddenly been erected on the shores of the Caspian Sea. Erected because the palm trees are plastic.
Пластиковое загрязнение стало последние десятилетия большой проблемой для экосистем Мирового океана.
Plastic pollution has become a major problem for the world's ocean ecosystems in recent decades. Plastic in various forms is found everywhere. It is known that in the Asia-Pacific region, this large patch of plastic pollution causes immense damage, not only to the natural environment, but also to the economies of nearby countries, affecting tourism, fishing activities, and shipping. The estimated economic damage exceeds $1.5 billion. However, the greatest harm is suffered by the marine ecosystem itself, with damage estimated at over $13 billion annually. Marine debris is diverse, consisting of plastic bottles and various plastic products that end up in the world's oceans. Among this diverse marine debris, abandoned fishing nets, also known as ghost nets, are particularly notable. These ghost nets pose a direct threat to marine animals. The Caspian Sea gently laps at the foot of exotic palm trees. Its azure waters, washing the shores of 5 countries, conceal many wonders. Until recently, plastic pollution in the Caspian Sea was not well known. However, research conducted by our institute over the past 5 years, from 2019 to 2023, has shown that marine debris pollution has also affected this unique sea. The Caspian seal serves as an indicator of the Caspian Sea's ecosystem health, and we have been trying to assess how marine debris impacts the Caspian seal population. Once, these unusual animals were found in vast numbers across the Caspian. Over thousands of years, they became an integral part of its ecosystem. For 2 centuries, relentless hunting reduced their population. Then, the technological revolution led to seals dying from pollution, weakened immunity, and diseases. They were listed in the Red Book of the International Union for Conservation of Nature and became an endangered species. We used to have many of them. They would lie in groups of 1,000 or 2,000. At that time, we were not interested in them. But now we admire them, saying, look, a seal. On one hand, we regret the past. There used to be so many of them. Now we also regret that their numbers have decreased. Today, the only marine mammal of the Caspian continues to perish. Our research has shown that one of the causes of mortality is illegal fishing and the entanglement of seals in abandoned fishing nets. These nets are lost due to storms or the negligence of fishermen, and no one takes care of them anymore. they remain in the sea as unaccounted killers. Research conducted by international experts, Dr. Linus Svolkinas and Simon Goodman, fully confirms the seriousness of the situation. At present, the problem of abandoned nets is insufficiently studied and requires closer attention. However, studies on the seals have revealed another threat, often invisible, but no less terrible and deadly.
Отдельным видом пластикового загрязнения является микро- и макропластик.
Micro and macroplastics represent a distinct type of plastic pollution. Plastic in aquatic environments is known to degrade over decades or even centuries. However, under the influence of sunlight, water and temperature, plastic does not decompose, but rather breaks down into microparticles. These microparticles are particularly harmful to marine life. Plastic penetrates into the bodies of animals, affecting their reproductive systems, various organs and tissues. Overall, it diminishes the immunity of animals. It is also known that micro and macroplastics accumulate toxic elements within organisms, thereby acting as a catalyst for various diseases. This type of pollution has been identified by us in the Caspian Sea, and research has shown its high concentration both in the water and along the coastline. We have also demonstrated that micro and macroplastics are present in the gastrointestinal tracts of 9 different fish species across various trophic levels. Undoubtedly, through these fish, this plastic also enters the body of the Caspian seal. The project for the comprehensive study of the impact of marine debris on the Caspian seal population, aimed at improving the marine environment and supporting the local community, was initiated in 2019. The project was launched by Tengiz Chevroil Company and the Institute of Hydrobiology and Ecology, and became part of the program to preserve the Caspian seal population. As model areas for the project, we chose the coast of the Tubkaragan Peninsula and the Seal Islands archipelago, which were once the most frequented sites visited by seals in the Caspian Sea. The waters adjacent to the Seal Islands are now gaining special significance. In 2022, the first information about newly formed islands to the northwest of the archipelago emerged. In the spring of 2023, we conducted an aerial survey and recorded new sandbanks where seals were gathering. In the fall of 2023, an expedition was organized, during which we discovered over 3,000 animals on these new islands. The seals are returning to these areas. Studying these new habitats has become an additional task of the Species Conservation Program.
Over the course of our 4-year research, we covered hundreds of kilometers. We traveled on foot, used hovercrafts, boats and trimarans. We lived in tent camps. We collected trash and nets and studied seal carcasses we encountered along the way. Another very important part of our work was filming a documentary and meeting with the local population. This project was aimed at understanding how to help the Caspian seal and finding ways to preserve the unique nature of the Caspian Sea. In 2019, we worked on the coast of the Tyuip-Karagan Peninsula. In 2020 and 2021, on the Seal Islands. And in 2023, in the Kanga area.
Our first expedition to the coast of the Tyuip-Karagan Peninsula turned into a true challenge. A team of 13 people, unaware of what they would face, trekked nearly 100 kilometers along wild beaches and rocky shores. Yet, the results were more than impressive. We collected almost 7 tons of trash, including 3 tons of discarded fishing nets. And this is only a small part of what we managed to find. Piles of glass bottles hidden under bushes, plastic marring untouched landscapes. All of this pointed to the scale of the impending catastrophe. But collecting trash along the coast was relatively easy, since we were near populated areas. It's a different story when it comes to reaching the Seal Islands. Sometimes it seems like it could be done without much effort. But this simplicity is deceptive. Extensive shallow waters, sudden water changes, these are just a few of the challenges awaiting any sailor. When planning our work, we had to consider all possible difficulties we might encounter. Nevertheless, each day brought us unforeseen adventures. The fishing nets we found on the islands were heavy and entangled. Nets that had been underwater for years, possibly even decades, were tangled, fouled with marine growth, and deeply embedded in the sands. That year, we covered hundreds of kilometers. We visited Podgorny, Morskoy, Rybachi, and Kulali Islands, collecting over 5 tons of discarded fishing nets. We dedicated 2 years to these islands, but it was impossible to collect and remove all the trash. Next in the project was the Kanga area in the Bay of Mangistau. We assumed there would be less garbage there. This place is far from populated areas and is visited only by wilderness tourists and fishermen. It's a mystical land. The shore still holds the ruins of an old village, lending the area a special atmosphere. Gentle seas and magical nature are hidden behind steep chalk cliffs that were once underwater. That year, we decided for the first time to check not only the coastline, but also the sea's waters. There were no nets in the water, but on the shore we collected almost 3 tons of discarded fishing nets and garbage. We did not expect such a large quantity. It seemed that visitors, after their parties, left all the trash here. They underestimate the danger. Broken bottles in the sands, plastic debris, and nets pose a real threat to the marine ecosystem. Every year, we documented our work by filming and releasing movies. It's crucial for us that what is hidden in the bushes, under the sand, and in the water does not go unnoticed. We want people to realize the scale of the problem and to feel what we encounter as we clean up trash and investigate the coastline, water and fish for micro and macroplastics. And so, autumn 2023 has arrived. We are preparing for the fifth and final stage of the project. This time, we plan to assess what has changed over the past 4 years along the shores of the Tubkaragan Peninsula. In 2019, our efforts were focused on the Caspian coastline from the place called General's Dacha to the village of Kızılüzen. At that time, this area was most polluted. We collected over 9 tons of marine debris. Now, we aim to repeat this work and determine how much trash has accumulated in these areas over the past 4 years. Preparation for fieldwork begins well in advance. All expedition participants gather on the same day. In the field camp, everyone knows their tasks. This year, we have a hiking group conducting monitoring along the coastline and a marine group simultaneously working at sea. In early September, the scorching sun beats down from early morning, making it unbearable inside the tents. The camp is located on the coast, greeted each morning by a gentle sea breeze, signaling a hot and challenging day ahead. Everything operates under strict order, with the work plan long established. However, it was drafted in the quiet of an office. Now we face the unpredictable nature of the Caspian, and each day brings its own adjustments. The scientific team, led by the expedition leader, meets every morning to decide on the best approach to achieve the set tasks. Broadly, there are 3 main objectives. Firstly, assess the extent of marine debris pollution along the coastline and adjacent waters. Secondly, we have to determine the level of microplastic pollution in the Caspian Sea ecosystems. And the final task is to conduct a census of Caspian seals encountered in the sea area. But let's go in order. The tasks for collecting marine debris are diverse. One of the types of work is the search for abandoned fishing nets in the sea. We always have a fisheries resource conservation inspector on board with us. It is their responsibility to determine whether these nets are abandoned or not. The search for nets involves visual observations as well as the use of an underwater drone. Both methods allow us to assess the surveyed area, and the drone can conduct video filming of seabed areas and their inhabitants. As part of this expedition, I am responsible for the Marine Group. The tasks of the Marine Group include searching for and retrieving abandoned fishing nets at sea. On our trimaran, we conduct transect surveys of the sea area. We operate in the regions of General's Dacha, Fort Shevchenko, the village of Bautino and Kizilduzen. The nets that have not been checked for a long time are silted, tangled into clumps, and contain remains of fish, birds, and sometimes Caspian seals. We do not touch nets that are in use and regularly checked. Our trimaran is equipped with water jets to avoid accidentally catching other nets. Additionally, we conduct trawling with a so-called grappling hook along the seabed to detect nets that are either stretched out on the bottom or suspended in the water column. Simultaneously, we deploy an underwater drone to locate underwater nets and conduct underwater filming.
Для обнаружения сетей в море, для подводных съемок.
When we find a net, we check for tags that confirm whether the net was legally deployed. If there are no tags, the net is brought on board and scientific work begins. Each net is measured. The thread thickness and mesh size indicate whether the net complies with legal fishing standards or if it's an illegal fishing gear. If the net contains live fish or other sea creatures, they must be untangled and released. This season, we did not find seals on the nets, but there were plenty of other victims of ghost nets. At the same time, with the marine search, work is being carried out to collect trash on the shore. Each day, we cover more than 10 kilometers, and to reach the starting point, fast and safe transport is necessary. The group is divided into 2 teams. The largest team focuses on collecting trash found within a beach strip ranging from 50 to 100 meters from the water's edge. The second team has a different objective. Their task is to document and process all encountered nets and dead seals' bodies along the way. Trash is scattered all along the coast. It not only needs to be collected, but also sorted. Glass, plastic, metal, and discarded fishing nets. All types of waste are placed into separate bags. All expedition members understand the importance of their contribution to the collective effort. Despite the heat and fatigue, we continue our work. We realize that every kilogram of trash collected is a step towards preserving the amazing nature of the Caspian coast.
Ежедневно мы проводим пешим ходом этот мониторинг.
Every day we conduct this monitoring on foot. Each discovered net and carcass is assigned in GPS point. Then, the abandoned fishing nets are measured. We measure the mesh size as well as the thickness of the thread. We most often encounter monofilament nets as well as nylon nets. After measuring, a visual inspection of the found net is carried out for any animal remains. Most often, we find the remains of fish, crayfish, seals, and birds. Strangely enough, this year we found the remains of a hedgehog. From the found seal carcasses, we take samples to determine the age. These are teeth and claws. If fresh individuals are found, we take internal organs as well as the stomach and intestines to study their diet. We often encounter seal remains tangled in fishing nets. These are usually nets with large mesh sizes. This mesh size is from 80 to 120 millimeters.
We load all the collected garbage onto the hovercraft. There's quite a bit accumulated. It's been a lot of hard work too. The coastal and marine works complement each other. We transfer the garbage collected on the shore to our research vessel, the Trimaran. All that remains is to transport the garbage to the camp. Then, it's back onto the hovercraft to ferry it back to shore. After that, we drag the garbage and load it into the vehicle. We'll take it to the designated location and transfer it to the trucks, which will transport the garbage for recycling. And so it goes, day after day. Typical expedition work. Our reward is the peaceful evenings in the field camp and the satisfaction of a job well done. Tomorrow, we are moving to a new site. We are transporting our camp to the second site of our work. From there, it will be more convenient for us to survey the coastline south of the village of Bautina. Half of the expedition is behind us, and we have already adapted to nomadic life. Our first camp was hidden behind the cliffs, which shielded it from strong winds. The second camp was more challenging. The very next day, the Caspian Sea decided to test our persistence. But the challenge did not last long. And as a reward for our perseverance, the majestic nature of the Caspian gifted us an unforgettable sight. And as the sea calmed down a bit, it washed ashore another reminder of human carelessness, as if to remind us that the work is not finished. The nets washed ashore are likely sent by local residents and lost due to strong winds. They do not have tags of the approved standard, indicating they are likely poaching nets. The thread thickness does not meet the established norms. The legal minimum is 0.3 millimeters, but here it's around 0.2 millimeters, even as thin as 0.15 millimeters. These nets are of Chinese origin, made from very fine thread, often referred to as spider webs. They are very effective in catching fish, but often they are lost because they are set illegally by poachers. After adjusting plans, disrupted by an unexpected storm, we return to work. The location is new, but the tasks remain the same. As always, the marine team sets out to search for discarded nets. While the shore team gathers trash for recycling. There's a lot of trash at the new site, likely due to its accessibility and the presence of many access routes. 2 trucks are needed for the trash alone. This is surprising considering that just 4 years ago, we had already cleared this area of trash.
It turns out we had hoped for less trash, but ultimately found more. The result is this. We pulled out 512 kilograms of discarded fishing nets from the sea and collected 2,523 kilograms on the coastline.
For comparison, in 2019, we collected 6.5 tons of trash and nearly 3 tons of nets. In 2023, it's more than 8 tons of trash and over 3 tons of nets. All of this in just 4 years. Why and where does it come from? In the summer at the sea, many people swim a lot. They don't clean up after themselves. Not all people are the same. Some throw unnecessary things from boats. It floats up and is thrown ashore. There are trash bins in all recreation areas now, but they don't put it there. They leave it on the shore. You can't follow everyone. I think this depends on discipline. Discipline is needed. We say that our sea is becoming polluted. Nets are being thrown away. We don't deny this. But which side are these nets coming from? We need to look into that. The Caspian Sea is used not only by the Kazakhstan part. 5 states benefit from it. We have also collected these nets we have seen. We have disposed of a lot. Burned, destroyed. But not all trash can be destroyed. There is trash that is impossible to be even collected. Microplastic. It is very difficult to quantify its amount and assess how dangerous it is. But this must be done. And it is a separate part of our work within the project.
We collect water samples in the coastal zone by filtering large volumes of water, typically 1,000 liters. To do this, we use a zooplankton net. These samples are then collected into special containers, fixed with formalin, and sent to the laboratory for further analysis. Sand samples are collected from the splash zone using a special frame and scoop.
Precious samples will be carefully packaged and sent to the Institute for detailed study.
In the sea, we collect several types of water and sediment samples. Sampling is carried out using two methods, a Juday net and a bathymeter. Both of these tools are lowered to a specific depth to collect water samples in this manner.
The analysis of collected samples is conducted in the calm silence of the laboratory. Our research confirms that microplastics are present both in the water and on the coast. This is a significant threat to the inhabitants of the Caspian Sea that is not disappearing, but only multiplying. As for the collected garbage, what is its future destiny?
It's been over 5 years since we started collecting the trash they gather on the coast and bring it here. Why do we bring it here? We could just take it to a landfill and bury it. But everything we bring here, nets, car tires, glass bottles, these plastic bottles, we sort it all. These plastic bottles go into the plastic sorting and pressing section. Right now, in this pile, there are 11 tons of trash collected this year in the coast in 21 days, over a ton of this kind of plastic. It breaks down into small pieces under the action of water and sunlight, causing significant harm to animals, birds, and even being found in human bodies. Therefore, the thousands of kilograms that will be sorted and recycled are a significant contribution of the Institute to preserving our flora, fauna, and nature in Mangistau.
Мы впервые провели такую работу, которая позволила оценить.
We have conducted this work for the first time. This allowed us to assess the scale of plastic pollution on the coast and in the waters of the Caspian Sea. We have gained initial experience and demonstrated that combating plastic pollution in the Caspian Sea is necessary, and effective mechanisms have already been developed by us. We have obtained specific scientific results on the content of marine debris, abandoned fishing nets, and microplastics and macroplastics in the Caspian Sea's waters and coastal environment. We have shown that potential Caspian seal habitats are heavily polluted with plastic debris and marine litter. The efforts to restore these habitats must continue.
Этих лежбищ, они должны быть продолжены. В процессе исследований были обнаружены нами около 400 тюленей.
During the research, we discovered around 400 deceased seals, including bodies and remains. More than 9% of them were entangled in fishing gear, specifically nets. This is a significant figure that requires attention.
Это большая достаточно цифра. И думаю, что на это надо будет обратить внимание.
The most effective way to protect marine animals and their habitats in our view, is to establish a state reserve for the protection of the Caspian seal. A plan of action has long been developed that will help reduce the mortality of marine mammals from debris, nets, and other negative factors.
Люди должны беречь ресурсы этого моря. Я не могу сказать должны.
People should conserve the resources of the sea. I can't say they must, but I would like to see more responsibility in people. This way we can protect what depends on us by our own efforts. I'm certain that each of us bears some responsibility, and therefore I believe that what we have cleaned up, the path we have taken, is significant work. Let's continue to work together for the good of our sea and for the good of our nature, unique, amazing, and incredible.
И невероятный.